Man Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to this special Thursday edition of TSR Live. We are brought to you, of course, by Gorilla Mind Rush, the #1 supplement on the market for productivity, focus, and concentration. I take this stuff every day, and like I said the other day, guys, one thing that I figured out about Gorilla Mind Rush is that it is not habit forming. I've gone 2-3 days without it. I don't go through any sort of withdrawal. There are no side effects. When you're on it, you're a superhero. When you're not, you're Clark Kent. You don't turn into some sort of, it's not like you're withdrawing from anything. So be sure to go to donovansharpe.com/gorilla mind rush to get your hands on a bottle or 3 and support the show at the same time. All right, let's get this party started. Already got 106 people watching. Today, I am joined by none other than the Godfather himself, Rollo Tomassi, and he's coming on to discuss the untimely retirement of former Colts quarterback Andrew Luck. And the article that you sent me, which was when I read it, it was absolutely like everything applied to it. But I'm gonna share my screen here, and I'm gonna read the last passage in the paragraph, because I think that this really does sort of sum things up with regards to what's going on here with Andrew Luck. So you say, yes, it is better to develop yourself rather than take the path of least resistance. That's not to say that don't sarge until you're out of college in your 30s and you have your career in order. It is to say, don't consider monogamy until you are mature enough to understand its limitations and you've achieved a degree of success to your own satisfaction according to your ambitions and passions. It is also to say that women should complement and support your plans for your own life. And the example that I point to that is quite literally the opposite of one Andrew Luck is Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter slept around. He had a high-class era. Mariah Carey, Jessica Alba. He didn't get married until he was retired, and he was, 41 years old, to a 25-year-old model. He put a baby in her, and now he's retiring. So what are your thoughts on what are your thoughts on Andrew Luck's his retirement? Obviously, it's his injuries that were a big factor, but you think also it could be his new wife.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna let me kill a little bit of dissent here first before we get into this, because here's what's gonna happen, and I'm gonna address this right now so we can move on to the meat of this whole thing. Okay, the first thing people are gonna say is that the first thing that critics are going to say to us right now, just for even covering this thing, for even talking about Andrew Luck, they're going to say, no alpha would ever watch football. It's gay hero worship of overpaid black men running around after a ball. Okay. Now, just to give a little, just put a little context here. You and I were in a fantasy football league last year, and hopefully we're still, I don't know when the draft day is, but I definitely want to get in on it this year too.
It's this Sunday.
See, there we go. But so I like football. I'm not giving up football because some guy in the manosphere said, you guys, you should watch football, that because now, and here's the thing. Okay. What is it about like sports? There's something about sports that is innately masculine, right? I mean, it's any kind of sport, any kind of game. Like if you play chess, that's a proxy for war. Right. If you play any kind of sport, that's a proxy for war. Right. That is a part of even if you lift, that's what are you lifting for? Are you lifting just to look good? Or are you lifting it because you're planning to be strong for something else later on? Right. So there are things that men do like that seem frivolous, but like the underlying latent purpose of that is something else. That might be like one of the things about like when we talk about like little kids playing, they're preparing. That's what play is. It's preparing for something else. So if you play chess, you're thinking strategically, you're preparing for war. That's a proxy. So that's the way I kind of look. If I'm looking for some sort of reconciliation when it comes to sports, I'm not going to give anybody any kind of obviously hero worship is one thing. It's another thing to enjoy sports. It's okay. Go watch a damn football game. Go watch a baseball game.
But that's meathead red pill guy. Yes. Out thinking the room, right? I don't watch sports. I have better things to do. I want to go live. Get out of here.
But that will be the first meathead critic that will call in here. Now, the next guy is going to say is you guys sound like whiny bitches talking about another guy, talking about other guys, right? You're just jealous of his success. Okay. Andrew Luck has $97 million.
That's right.
Okay. How do you argue again? Like anything you could that you can't possibly say one critical thing about a guy who has 97. He has fuck you money like 12 times, like
Easy.
90 times over. Okay,
For
so
children's
so what is it? $2 million? Is that what they said in that movie? Like $2 million, just fuck you money. Okay?
Yes,
so,
right.
So he's got it,
50 generations of fuck you money.
45 times fuck you. Okay, so we got that out of the way. All right, so that's the thing, is like we have to be able to criticize people, and people always give me grief when I talk about Jordan Peterson, and the first thing that they say is you're jealous of his success. No, I'm being critical of things that he's saying. That's how we have a discussion. We can't have a discussion. We can't talk about things so we can learn unless we can actually have that conversation. So, and then finally, the last one is Andrew Luck is way more alpha than you will ever be. He's got $97 million, so that's proof. He must be alpha because he's got, look at him, he's a football player, and maybe he is. Maybe so. Can we discuss that? Yes.
Doesn't look like it.
I think we should be able to. Okay. So he's getting and here's the other thing, and we'll talk about this as well. Is he's getting married, or he got married. He is married now.
Right.
Married to his college girlfriend. So you've got this kind of like romantic, sweet story going on. But of course, he's 29 years old, and he's had this girlfriend since he was in college, which I would presume probably in his late teens to very early 20s. Correct. So he's been like keeping her on the back burner for a little while because probably he has been focusing on his career, on playing football, being a very talented, very good quarterback. Okay. So yes, is the guy alpha on the field? No doubt. I mean, of course, that you can see the proof in the pudding right there. Now, here's the other thing that a lot of people don't really recognize is that people have, like, guys who are successes often have that success because they are alpha. They're not alpha because of the success. Okay. Right. So it's not you got to look at, now, are there people who luck into a lot of money? Are there people are there people who come into money by circumstance? Yes, absolutely. Does that make them alpha? No, it doesn't. Never. So we have to, I want to clear that air there first before we even start talking about this, and also to start talking about, I'm going to bring up Colin Kaepernick in this too, because there's a lot of similarities between and man, right up until all this bullshit went down, I was a Cap fan.
Kaepernick is a god in Reno, dude.
He's the hometown hero, and now nobody even wants to say his name.
You don't even see his gear at the Reno Tahoe Airport anymore. They had a whole shrine to him. That thing's gone now.
You know, it's funny, is like when I'm going around Reno, if I've got a gig to do at UNR, or like I go to visit my daughter or something like that, I go and I look around, and they used to have these banners of, like, when it's football season, they will have these little banners that hang from like the lights, and it'll say like Colin Kaepernick and
that's whoever even else, at Mackey
like,
Stadium,
like the pros, the guys who went from UNR to becoming a pro. Cap was in this one spot, and you couldn't miss it. It is gone.
Dude, it is gone. And I remember, I think Colin Kaepernick's signature win, if I'm not mistaken, was against Boise State,
right? And it went in double overtime.
That's right. And Boise State was headed to the national championship game. All they had to do was beat UNR. And the skinny little kid from Modesto, California, who had a turtle, ran roughshod all over those guys, and the legend of Colin Kaepernick was born. Boy, that was crazy.
Yeah. That was actually, I saw that. It's funny. I was living in Orlando when that went down, and I actually I called it up. Just like, I think I watched it live streamed just because I wanted to see that happen.
Oh hell yeah, dude! He shredded that defense, man.
Yeah, and if you know anything about UNR, they really hate Boise, or Boise hates us, I should say. It's the only other rivalry besides UNLV. So anyway, so he got married, right? And they have a kid. And so a lot of people will say that's alpha because he's doing what an alpha would do, right?
Right. He's spreading his seed.
Settling. Well, I'm not saying, but like to like the TradCon mindset, it's, well, he's settling down, he's doing the right thing, and he's and oddly enough, and I don't know, maybe you know the timeline on this. Did they get married and then she got pregnant, or was she pregnant and then she got married and then they got married?
You know what? It's weird because it all seemed to happen at the same time. It says that he just married her, I guess, rather recently, and now I think she's 5 or 6 months pregnant. So I'm not 100% sure what the timeline is on that. I do know that they've known each other for a while. I do know that they started dating each other in college. But here's the thing, and I know this may or may not have something to do with what you're talking about. But Andrew Luck was touted as the greatest college as the greatest high school prospect to go to college since John Elway. So his wife, it's not like she didn't know who Andrew Luck was. We knew about Andrew Luck when he was a senior in high school. We damn sure knew about him as a freshman and a sophomore. He would have been the number 1 overall pick as a sophomore, if not for the NFL rule to be at least 3 years removed from high school to be draft eligible. So it's not like she got with him before he was somebody. Mrs. Luck knew exactly who her husband was before she got with him. And that's not a crime. It is what it is, right? I mean, hey, listen, man, she saw a target and she hit the target. Bingo.
And exactly. And you don't begrudge her or anything like that. I mean, she's going to do what she's going to do. I was just curious because it seems to me like that would be something that sort of factors into this whole thing. So again, before I get started here, I'm not coming down on Andrew Luck as a person. Okay. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he knows, what's up. But here's the thing is, and this goes back to the Dream Killers, quote you just read there. One of the things, Dream Killers was a very early post for me. I think that was in like my first year of posting on it might be 2011 or 2012 that I put that out.
11 October 10, 14,
yeah,
11,
because that was a conversation that we had at So Suave probably a few years prior to that.
Okay.
And there was a time I think I actually got the name Dream Killers from Tom Likas, because Tom Likas used to say women are dream killers, and I think I talked about that, or I thought about that for a little while, and I go, well, is it because are women dream killers because they have some nefarious plan to say, you know what, I'm going to really fuck this guy's life up. I'm going to destroy. He's going to do everything for me. I'm owed it. It's entitlement, and it's easy to think of in those terms, like women are maliciously killing men's dreams. It's like, that is exactly the opposite of what I was thinking.
There you go.
Because what happens for guys is especially if they have a blue pill conditioned mindset, if they have something that in their back of their head where they've been taught that they have to not just appease women, but to like be serviceable to women, to be a utility to women, to be quote unquote supportive. That's the thing. You got to be a support. You have to lift her up, blah, blah, blah. You need to do everything for the relationship. Like I have heard like kids, like boys as young as like 10 or 12 years old tell me relationships are hard work. I'm like, where the fuck did you get that? Where did that come from? Little boy right here talking about that. And I'm like, and they picked it up from either mom, or they picked it up from probably some little girl, or maybe they happened to pick. I mean, this is like standard Oprah, of course, Dr. Phil shit, right? Sure. Like, and as early as 10 years old, they know that, well, this kid knew anyways, that you're supposed to be supportive. You're supposed to you want to play even Steven. The idea of egalitarianism gets thrown into the mix at a very, very early age. And of course. we have we're taught by predominantly a female narrative, whether it's teachers or it's your family or it's religion or it's pop culture, popular media, music, whatever. We're taught this. And so there's an expectation, I think, amongst women that men will give up things. They'll make sacrifices for you to ensure your success, or to make sure if nothing else, to make sure that women don't fall. That's part of men's protectionist nature. Like
part of our burden.
We have it's a burden of performance, but it's also an innate evolved part of our mental firmware, is to want to protect women. Like if the bullets start flying, we put our bodies instinctively in front of women because we need to protect the life givers, right? Sperm is cheap, eggs are expensive.
There you go.
We have that innate instinct right there, but that gets played into, that's the basis of it. Like that's the natural proclivity. But what happens is we build on that. Well, if you're going to protect women, you should really support women. If you should support women, then you're going to have to sacrifice things for women. And that's where dream killers came in. It's not that women want guys most women don't want their guy to give up anything for them. They want a man who has a dominant man, but also a man who has a vision, has a mission, has some place a direction to go. And she wants to be, I'm going to quote, I think I'm quoting Royce here, is like, she wants to be attached to a worthy man's life, to his mission. But the problem is then that guy kills his own dream because of the woman. because he thinks it's his duty to do so,
Right.
that he has to make that sacrifice. Like, how noble a sacrifice is it to say, well, I could be I could be a Hall of Fame quarterback, but babe, we need to settle down and have a family. That sounds really noble. Now, people are going to say, well, he didn't do that just entirely because he was beat up. Yeah. And maybe you can tell me a little bit more about his injuries.
Oh, yeah. He was to make a very long story very short, and not to get too sportsy with this, but Andrew Luck was drafted by Bill Polian. And Bill Polian he's a Hall of Fame general manager. He's the guy who put together the early 90s Buffalo Bills, who went to 4 straight Super Bowls. He's the guy who had the wherewithal to draft Peyton Manning over Ryan Leaf. Well, the owner, Jim Irsay, who is the son of the worst owner in NFL history, Bob Irsay, who moved the Colts from Baltimore to Indianapolis, obviously influenced his son, Jim Irsay. Now, Jim Irsay owns the team, and the only good decision Jim Irsay has ever made, who, by the way, he has a drug problem, he has a pill problem, does cocaine, he's very erratic, has high blood pressure, his face is pink. The only good decision he made was hiring Bill Polian, who made the decision to draft Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck. Well, here's the problem. Jim Irsay fired Bill Polian and hired Ryan Grigson. Ryan Grigson didn't build an offensive line for Andrew Luck. He built everything else except for the offensive line. And as a result, Andrew Luck got beat up. Every year he was injured. It seemed he was hurt all the time. And then finally in 2017, he had to sit out all season long. Last year, he had a career year, comeback player of the year. But guess what? It had already taken its toll. So yes, his injury history is definitely long and distinguished. And it is because of his...
Didn't something similar happen with RG3? Like
no.
Robert Griffin? Didn't they put him out there and he got beat up because
no. Robert Griffin III, the reason why he got hurt a lot is because he's number one, he's a smaller guy. Number two, he was a running quarterback, right? Michael Vick is the most spectacular college football player I ever saw, but he was always hurt because Michael Vick ran around a lot. Number one. Number two, Michael Vick is small. Michael Vick is like 5'11", 185. And so he was hurt a lot. Cam Newton is a massive human. Monster. He likes to run he's a monster. Guess what? He's always hurt. You cannot be a running quarterback in this league. And Robert Griffin III was a track star. Can't be a track star and play quarterback. You have to sit back in the pocket and throw darts. This is why Tom Brady, I could probably run faster than Brady. This is why he's playing dude, I'm 3 days older than Brady. We're the same age. That's why he's still playing in the league at 57 years old, because he doesn't run around.
57. He's not 57 years old. That's funny though. This will probably be his last. This will probably be, man, that's another, it's funny. We're going to talk about red pill stuff and we'll talk about football, man. That's a whole nother can of worms with him and Giselle.
Oh yeah.
But no, I was gonna say is like I get it, man. I know the guy's beat up. I know that the guy. I mean, that certainly has something to say about it. But here you also have a guy like Tom Brady, who's 41 years old, I believe. 42, and you know damn well Giselle's been saying, "Oh, you should retire."
Of course,
she probably would love for him to retire. Oh, you know what? And I was gonna save this link for you, but I saw somebody sent me a link to a story about the statistics for guys in the NFL and how long it takes for them. Like, I think on average, it's anywhere between 3 and 5 years when a guy retires before his first divorce. Like the woman will bail. I will dig that. Awesome. I promise you, I will dig that. I was floored when I saw that. I was like, yeah, I guess I can sort of get that. There's a book by Dr. Warren Farrell. It's called Why Men Are the Way They Are. And in that, and this was as far back as like 1986, right? Damn. So he did like some studies about one thing. I have locked horns with the guy before, but one thing I will give him credit for is he's a consummate statistician. And one of the things he was looking at was how when women are into their alpha guy and that guy's alphaness or that guy's persona is wrapped up in his being like famous or being a star or being that performer, because that's what NFL guys are. They have to go out there and they have to perform, and they got it, hopefully they go to a Super Bowl, right? So that performance becomes part of what they are. And we've talked about, you and I have talked about this before, women are more concerned with what you are rather than who you are. So when you cease to become, or you cease to be what she fell in love with, or what she thought she was getting involved with, then, all the money in the world is I mean, it's a lot of money, right? Okay, so I'm not saying this is going to happen, but let's just say hypothetically here, you've got a guy like Andrew Luck who's got like $97 million. He's married, he's got a kid, he stops playing 5 years later, you know, when she's 34.
Yeah, man.
And
I mean,
like half of that money looks pretty damn good.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I'm not saying like, you know, sports stars shouldn't get married, but they should certainly factor that in. If you're going to be, you know, you owe if you're a celebrity, really, or if you're if you're a star athlete, it behooves you to at least consider things in a red pill lens on before you start making these decisions. That's just my brief, you know, unsolicited advice. But I think that a lot of his retirement had to do with the same thing with Dream Killers. He felt like he needed to do that. In fact, he even said that he needed to, you know, he wanted to be with the kids. He wanted to be he wanted to start a life. He was writing. There was somebody who had a parody account saying he was like writing home from like the Civil War or some shit like that.
Oh, that's because his Twitter handle is General. Yeah, it's General Andrew Luck. He looks
Andrew Luck.
Yeah, right. It's actually
yeah. I thought that was pretty funny, but like you can see this guy, you know, tearful. I mean, and granted, I'm don't begrudge him the emotional aspect of this as well.
Not. He's human,
but yeah, he's a human dude, and I feel for him as well. But I don't think that there wasn't something also included that had to do with doing what he thought he should do.
It says it right here.
The kid isn't born yet, right?
No. Okay. The kid is absolutely not born yet. I actually saw somebody in the chat say that women are inherently evil. And like guys that, well, listen, obviously you and I know that's not the case, but guys that say that, I'm never too hard on those guys, because chances are those are the guys who have newly found the red pill. Those are guys who are maybe in the anger phase, which is a necessary phase of digesting a red pill. But you wrote here in the article, you said, quote, "All of this is limited by a man's attitude towards the opposite sex. Women are dream killers, not because they have an agenda to be so, but because men will all too willingly sacrifice their ambitions for a steady supply of pussy and the responsibilities that women attach to this." So, okay, Andrew Luck retires for what appears to be a noble cause. I want to be with my family. I want to be able to do this and that. But what it comes down to for me is that most guys in the NFL play hurt. It's my assertion that Andrew Luck played football because he was good at it, not really because he loved it. Tom Brady plays football because he loves it. You're going to have to listen. You're going to have to drag him off the field to get him to
Same
quit.
thing with Brett Favre, man. Brett Favre,
God.
I mean, he comes out of retirement, and he didn't want to give that up.
He did not want to give it up.
Yeah.
Some guys love football. Does it make Andrew Luck a bad person because he doesn't love football? No, but let's not pretend that Andrew Luck is an alpha male. And let's get to that part. Andrew Luck is not an alpha male. His teammates have said, we love Andrew Luck. Not a very good leader. You want to know who's an alpha male? Tom Brady. Tom Brady gets in the faces of teammates all the time. Yeah. You want to know who's not an alpha male? Ben Roethlisberger, not an alpha male. That dude is passive aggressive. This is why all of this drama with Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell kind of took form, because he never got in their face and said, "Look, I'm the captain of the fucking team. You're either going to fall in or fall out." You can always tell who Michael Jordan, alpha male, the guy punched teammates, give me the ball, etc. So just like you were saying, success does not make you an alpha male. You are never an alpha male because of your success. You are never an alpha male because of your money. You have money and success partially because you have alpha male genetics, but just because you're a professional athlete, just because you could sleep with any woman you want to, just because you can buy everything you want, doesn't make you an alpha male.
Yeah, people give me grief about that too, because when I was talking with Pat Campbell about Jeff Bezos when he was having his divorce, and people were like, "I can't believe he wouldn't go. Why is he going out with that old chick? You know what? You know the Dirty Sanchez or whatever. Why is it?" We keep calling her that. Yeah. Why would he could have any chick? He could live like Dan Blitzerian. Why is he not doing that? Why? It's like beyond us. Well, because he has a beta male mindset. He has a blue pill mindset.
There you go.
That's why, because he's not alpha. People say, "Well, he's got more money than God." Yeah, that's no insurance. He could have any chick he wants, but he's not. Why doesn't he go for like some 22-year-old chippy? Because he's Jeff Bezos, and that's not the way he thinks. That's just how he is. So you get a guy like Dan Blitzerian, and he's got a new chick every night, and now of course he's sort of like backpedaling on that. But
of course,
but yeah, I mean, just because you have those means does not necessarily mean that that was the result of you being, an alpha dude. You could still have those, like, people with, I've worked, and you probably have done this as well. I've worked with enough guys that I learned this early on, because in my line of work in the alcohol and gaming industry, I work with millionaires. The guys who I answer to were pretty much millionaires, like 10 times over. Okay. So when I see that and I talk to them and they're very alpha in their business dealings,
in their element,
they know what to do. Yeah. In their element, you take them out of that and you see how they relate with their wives or their girlfriends or whatever.
It's like night and day, dude.
Night and day, man. And that also affects a guy's, capacity to earn too, because a lot of guys will, like, if you know any better, they don't want to work with a guy who is a liability because of that mindset, because maybe she's going to take half of his assets, and if he's locked into the company, that means half of the assets of the company are going off to her when that day arrives.
Right.
So those are some things to think about. But yeah, as far as the dream killers aspect of this whole thing is, again, it's not because women are evil. It's because men believe that, because of that beta mindset we were just talking about. It's because that's why Jeff Bezos is not going to go, and he sees a 49-year-old chick, dude, with big boobies he could
bang any 20-year-old virgin he wants. Well, 20-year-old virgin, but yes.
I mean, the dude could stop working right now and never have to work another day in his life and have a new chick every day. But he's not going to do that, because what looks logical and rational to him? Doing what he's doing, which is, we think it's stupid. And he just made Mackenzie Bezos the richest woman in the world, because he is beta, because he is blue pill, because that's what he believes. So we have, we got Mackenzie is the richest woman in the world, all as a result of the way that the guy's mindset was set up. So when you think about that, like, people always give me so much grief about, like, well, all he talks about is hypergamy or alpha this or beta that or whatever.
That's because that's the basis upon relationship.
Because look at the outcome of Jeff Bezos. That's a lot of fucking money, man.
That's a lot of cheese,
and
dude.
It's not just the money. It's the people who are employed at Amazon who depend on him making a good decision about that kind of stuff. And so, yes, it is that important, because at some point it trickles down to the average Joe that is, putting books in boxes at the facility in Fernley here, and so yes, it is that far reaching. You just have to sort of, and that's why I think that I try to stress this as much as I can. So guys will give up on their ambitions. And the reason, I think the way I came to this was, I had so many guys back in the SOSWAV days, who would tell me, they would ask me, like, should I move to another state? Should I change my colleges? Should I change my majors? Wow. Should I decline my dream job so that I can facilitate my relationship with this girl?
Oh my!
And so that's where I got that. That's where I got the idea of that ambition part. Okay. There. So guys will readily, blue pill beta men who have been taught this most of their lives, will readily give up their ambitions and their dreams and their desires to facilitate a relationship. You will rarely see a guy not do something like that. And those are the guys who are alpha. Those are the guys who can say, you know what, I'm my mental point of origin, and this job is my dream job, and I'm going to go there. I really love you, but I have to go do this. If you want to follow along, if you want to be part of a worthy man's, direction and ambition, then you're welcome to move and see me, but I'm not going to pass this up, bypass these opportunities.
Well, listen, this is what happened in the Devin situation. Mm-hmm. One of the main reasons I came here to Philly wasn't because of a job. It was because there are some family issues happening here in Philly that have a lot to do with old age. Like, my grandmother is 97 years old, probably not going to be with us for too much longer. So that's part of the reason I'm here, is to help her with her final affairs, help take care of her, give her some company. I've got a couple of aunts who are getting up there in age. Mm-hmm. I understand. I mean, dude, I'm 42 years old. I'm not 22 anymore. That's one of the main reasons I came out here. Well, I was seeing Devin at the time, and I told her, hey, look, man, like, this is it. I'm headed to Philly. And she said, you know what? I'm coming with you. That's how that works. And I think a lot of men do sacrifice, and it never works out. By the way, shout out to Chris Von Erich. with the $20 super chat. He says, love your content, Donovan, and wants to know, it says, what's up, Rollo? A lot of men sacrifice what could be a life-changing decision, like to set them, I mean, generational type wealth, like 6 and 7 figure jobs. Nope. They want to stay in whatever town they're in to facilitate that relationship. Why do those relationships rarely work out?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you why they rarely work out is because when a guy does that, when a guy believes that he should, like it's his imperative, his moral imperative, or his idea. Well, remember, kids, guys who are little boys who are 5 years old are taught this deference to the feminine from like that old, from a very early age. So when a guy gets to be 25 years old and all of that's been sort of, embedded into his psyche, it's not even a contemplation. It's not even a guy thinking, should I do this or should I not? The decision's already made. Because the guy is all, because he doesn't make himself his own mental point of origin. So it just seems like the most natural thing in the world for a guy to just give up his ambitions because he wants to facilitate his relationship. And particularly if that guy is not getting pussy on a regular basis. If that guy, if it's a struggle for a guy to generate sexual options for himself, that's really hard. That's when guys will make those decisions. And I think what's kind of tragic about the whole thing is that like women aren't going to, some women will feel like they're entitled, like you better come and follow me, or this relationship's over unless you do that. Or what about me? What about my what about my needs? Right? Well, I can't leave my friends, my family, yada yada. So you've got this sort of fempowerment idea going on the female side, and then you've got this deference to the feminine going on the male side. So guys don't even contemplate that. They think, well, I'm going to do whatever's going to be best for you, babe. And they're going to, and that's what they're going to do. And so what is interesting though, is because of all of this, guys will readily give up their dreams. But the same thing, the same dynamic that makes them give up on their dreams makes them less attractive.
Right. There you go. This is why, real quick, this is why Gisele Bündchen can't get enough of Tom Brady. Because Tom Brady, dude, every year Gisele tells him, she even went to this, he's had concussions and this and that. Brady's like, dude, I don't care. Like, I love you and I'm steady putting babies in you. But dude, I'm out here trying to get these rings. And and even though she doesn't like it, she adores him for it. You see her up in the stands during all of the Super Bowls. She's on pins and needles, hoping against all hope some 300-pound defensive lineman doesn't take his head off. But guess what? With every year he tells her, no, I'm going to keep going, her attraction grows stronger to him. That's just how it goes.
I know. And what's funny is like for Gisele, that at one point, because Gisele's like a supermodel, she makes a shit ton of money. If somebody told me she makes more money than Tom Brady does.
She absolutely does. She is, she wears the pants in the family in terms of net worth. So
and
Brady wears the pants.
Like, he's Tom fucking Brady. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
But I would tell you, like, probably in the early days before he was Tom Brady and they were together, she was probably challenging his ass, saying, you need to give this up. You need to do something, and I'm not saying that, she would like turn him away from being a famous football player, but there's that part of a woman's nature where there's that entitlement. Like, you need to step up. You need to man up. You need to put a ring on my finger. You need to put a baby in me very soon because, I'm not getting any younger, that kind of stuff. And guys, when they're not alpha, when they're not Tom Brady, that conversation doesn't even exist because they've already made the decision. Because they make women their mental point of origin, the decision is already made for them. So you never even get to that. But again, the thing that happens is they shoot themselves in the foot, and women shoot themselves in the foot by doing this as well. Because if there is an expectation of that man sacrificing his ambitions and his passions and his direction, that is the same thing that is going to kill their relationship ultimately. And so it's like this conflict. And I think that most women probably don't even think about this. It's just like sort of some sort of subconscious, thing, because everything's in the immediate. Everything is in the now. It's got to be like, okay, I need this now. I need that now.
Yes.
And they're not thinking in the future, and they're not thinking about the decisions that this guy is making is going to make him less attractive in the future.
There you go, man.
Because he knuckled under to my pressure. Or maybe he didn't even knuckle under at all. He just said, yeah, let's go.
As soon as it got hot, yeah, that was it. Didn't even take any convincing.
Yeah, so
this is why
they end up self-sabotaging.
This is why I actually had a live stream maybe about a week and a half ago that explained why it's never a good idea to help your overweight girlfriend lose weight, especially if she was overweight when you committed to her. Because number one, you're probably not going to be successful. Number two, if you are successful in helping her lose weight, what you have done is you have increased her sexual market value past the point to where you committed to her. So when she gets thin, she's going to start getting attention from all of these other guys who would never have committed to her when she was fat. And the guy brags about it. Well, they would never have committed to you when you were overweight, but I did. And she's like, yeah, that's not a good thing. If you commit to overweight chicks like I used to be, what's that say about your value? This is why you are self-sabotaging when you help your overweight girlfriend to lose weight. It's the same thing as sacrificing your job or your career for a woman.
So women will do the same thing too, because they will say like, well, I helped my husband or my boyfriend and I was there with him through thick and thin when he was going to law school or when he was, and that's their fear. The fear of this is, and this is the classic fear, is that if you help a guy become more than he is, then he's going to see you and say, why am I bothered with that when I can go get a 22-year-old, younger, hotter, tighter? Why would I? And I would argue that most, especially if they're blue pill conditioned men, that's a rarity. But if they become more full of themselves, or if there's that sort of that self-importance, I guess, prior to that, then maybe you have a case. But it's the same thing as like getting your girlfriend like thin. When your girlfriend, if your girlfriend's fat and you hook up with her, it's usually because she sees you as at least one step above her in sexual market value.
Right.
Maybe the same, maybe not. If you bring something else to the table, maybe the same, but certainly not lower. So she's going to see you as a little bit higher above her. When she gets to the point where you are even or she is above you, then yes, then that's when she's going to make those. And if anybody doubts this, what is the first thing that a woman does when she's preparing to get divorced?
Oh, dude, she starts
straight to the gym. Straight to the gym. She won't do it for you, but she'll do it for any potential dude that isn't you.
That's freaking hilarious, man. Because dude, they start losing weight, they start dressing better, they start smoking a lot of times. There was a couple of super chats here that I have to get to. Big thanks goes out to Red Rum 9899. Says keep spreading this knowledge. What you guys are preaching is pure gold. Young gents, take notes. This is Cameron from Facebook. Okay, very good. Martin Van Ball with 50 SEK. I don't know what that is. He says my ex cheated and dumped me. Now, after a year, she is texting me back with regret. Sometimes I feel weak and want to text her back. I don't know why. Well, you're human. That's why, right?
Because she's a sure thing. That's why. Because you think, but guys who do like what is it? Iron Rule number 7: never root through garbage. Once you're taking
that is Iron Rule number 7. Yes,
that's number 7. And there's a reason for that. That is actually an iron rule, because you're going to want to do that because you're going to see that woman as your sure thing.
Right.
Because you've had sex with her before, and in the back of your head, somewhere in your subconscious, you go, it wouldn't be, you're thinking this, it wouldn't be as much effort to go and rekindle something with her because I know she's selected me for, there's pre-selection there. She's selected me for sex before.
That's right.
So I can go back and get sex again. And it's certainly easier than having to deal with like actual real rejection from a new person. But it never works out the way you want. But that's why you want to do that.
Hurts a lot less. I'll tell you that. Something that I was going to, another reason why you want to text her back is not just because she's a sure thing, but because there are feelings there. A lot of guys, a lot of our detractors, Rollo, they think when they are arguing against us, they argue with us as though we are coming from a position of invincibility. They think they want to characterize what we talk about as the red pill will make you invincible. Dude, the red pill doesn't make anybody invincible. It just makes you aware what you do. The longer you are red pill aware, the more likely you are to exercise that red pill awareness in real life applications, which is why guys who are freshly new to the red pill, a lot of guys drop out because they use that red pill awareness. They get the hottest girl they've ever been with, and all of a sudden they go back to being blue pill. They get cheated on. This red pill stuff doesn't work. But all we can do is give you the information. that's why you have to consistently consume this information, because the longer you consume this information, the more likely it is that you are going to exercise this in real life. That doesn't guarantee anything. And the reason why this guy wants to text his ex-wife back is because he actually did love her at some point in time. That's just how it is.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and the other thing, and I don't know how well, he was saying this a long time. I had a counselor that I was doing for a guy who was just freshly split up with his girlfriend, and he just didn't understand why he kept having those thoughts. Like it's a month later, and he still wants to get back together with her, and he's still thinking, and he's really resisting all this stuff. And you have to understand that there's also a physical component to that as well.
Of course.
And so and I'm not going to say dopamine, because dopamine is the precursor, but the endorphins and the pleasure chemicals that are in your brain are very similar to heroin when it comes to loving or infatuation or anything that like reproduction, as far as evolution is concerned, is the primary goal for every human being. So it has to be the most pleasurable, most memorable, most repeatable experience that a person has. And so in order to facilitate that, you have to be flooded with a chemical cocktail that will keep you coming back for that. Well, what happens is when you remove that chemical cocktail, that's your reward. That's the reward center. We're talking about behavioral psychology. That's your reward center. So when you remove that reward entirely, you're going to seek out novel ways to try to reestablish that reward.
Right. At least to get the dopamine up front, right? You might not you might not get the serotonin, you might not get the oxytocin at the end, but at least maybe get a little bit of hit of that.
Well, why is it that guys turn to alcohol immediately after a breakup? Because they're trying to at least emulate that pleasure, chemical once again. And, of course it never works, and you have to wean yourself. I've got a great post called Detox. Just look up Detox on my search, and you'll see, I talk about that a lot. And, I think the people will say, well, that's all about dopamine. Dopamine is a precursor to pleasure. It's not actually the pleasure chemicals. There actually are, opioids that your brain and your body naturally produce. It's dopamine that's the precursor to those. Basically, it's dopamine saying you're gonna feel good real soon,
and you're getting excited.
I keep reading about stuff like dopamine hits and how gamblers and people get addicted to online stuff. And it's like, it's not the actual dopamine. It's actually the pleasure center or the pleasure chemicals that come from it. So yeah, I mean, as far as Andrew Luck is concerned, I think that I wanted to make this comparison to him to like Colin Kaepernick, because Kaepernick is sort of he's a warning story to everybody when it comes to like, this is why you have to have your shit together when you have success. So we talk about this all the time. We talk about guys. I read about this all the time, and we talk about how like when you become a rock star, or when you become a top paid athlete, you're what, 22 years old, dude, 25 years
not
old,
even
maybe
close to ready, man.
Too young, too much, too fast.
Whew.
Right? That's the song, Too Much.
Yeah.
And it's true, because you're not prepared, and particularly if you still have that blue pill conditioning behind you, you're setting yourself up to be manipulated by women, by a promoter, by your management, by whatever else, because you believe that. And people who are older and wiser and understand your nature and understand what you're going through don't always have your best interests in mind. So when I saw the story of Colin Kaepernick, now obviously because he's the hometown hero, I was very interested in his story. He was adopted by his white parents, I think, and he was very much like raised in a way that was like white Christian, like evangelical
in Wisconsin.
Christian, in Wisconsin of all places, and now he's been dating Nessa Diab, and I don't know whether or not he has converted to Islam yet.
He probably has,
and has essentially, for this woman, because he got involved with Nessa Diab, he's changed, like radically changed, because that's his goal. His goal is not his own ambitions. It's not his desire. It's to get with a girl like Nessa Diab. Now, Nessa Diab, he
literally threw his career away for
down the shitter.
Dude, it's funny because $19 million in his last season. $19 million. Colin Kaepernick was in line to cash it in, man. And it just, oh, yeah.
Now, here's what people are going to say. Well, he wasn't all that good. Like, yeah, but he could have been better had he not been.
Wait, hold on. He wasn't all that good? Ask the Green Bay Packers, who he gashed 2 years in a row in the playoffs. Yes. Listen, say whatever you want about Colin Kaepernick. The kid went to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship game and actually gashed the Green Bay. You don't accidentally get to the Super Bowl and an NFC title game and gash the defensive heavy Green Bay Packers with Kabir Baja-Biamila and Clay Matthews. It doesn't work that way.
People don't. I should have probably said this in the beginning. People don't like it when you talk shit about their celebrities. No, like when you were talking about what's that bitch from the Bachelorette, Hannah? Is that what her name was?
Brown. Jesus Christ.
Okay, I watched. Obviously, I was in the chat when you were doing that. I'm watching this, and the only reason I even know her name is because my daughter watches that show. Right? And they were watching the final. Like she and her girlfriends were watching the finale of this. I'm like, what? Do people actually think this is like real? Do they think that this is I mean, it's in some ways, and I get why you get into that.
Sure.
In some ways, I understand it. It kind of teaches you some basic red pill dynamics, or it shows you like how things play out in the real world,
right? And what not.
I don't know how you watch that shit, man. I really don't.
Oh my god!
But when you talk about them, when you do that, when you were talking about Hannah, everybody loses their mind. I can't believe you'd say something like that. She's so much better than you, and she would, she's going to be richer than you and successful than you.
I'm sure she is.
Same thing with Colin Kaepernick. So when I go and I talk about like Nessa, how he sort of had his downfall because of Nessa Diab, people will find if you are ego invested in Colin Kaepernick as a person, anything I say is never going to be objective. It's always going to be, in the framework of people people are going to try to defend Colin Kaepernick for a very long time. But let's be honest, would he be talking about Fidel Castro and communism? And would he be talking to what's the Linda Sarsour, the Muslim she's a huge Muslim feminist. She's the one who started. She's been involved in a lot of shit. Like I saw pictures of her, Nessa Diab, and Colin Kaepernick. I'm like, okay, I get it now. I understand exactly what. Like remember when he wore that T-shirt that had like Fidel Castro on it or some shit like that?
When he was in Miami,
he wouldn't even know Fidel Castro's name had it not been for Nessa Diab, and she was.
Get this. The Baltimore Ravens, I don't know if you know this, the Baltimore Ravens were going to sign Colin Kaepernick, but Nessa Diab called Steve Bisciotti, the Baltimore Ravens owner, she called him a racist, right? Here's the difference between a guy like Kaepernick and Brady, okay? Nessa Diaz got out of pocket, okay? She got out of pocket one time. Colin Kaepernick didn't check her. Well, guess what? You don't check your woman the first time she gets out of pocket. She's going to stay out of pocket. Gisele Bundchen went to the media and said, hey, listen, Tom Brady was hiding a concussion. Guess what? Tom checked Gisele. He said, listen, sweetheart, I don't know what happened behind closed doors, but we haven't heard anything from her about Brady since. He checked his woman. This is what happens when you don't check your woman. He didn't check Nessa Diaz the first time, and she literally destroyed his career. He might very well be the Baltimore Ravens quarterback right now, but he didn't check his woman.
Yep, and Nessa Diab, but here's the thing: is like and you have to look at the signs here. A lot of people get upset with me because remember when he was wearing the shoes, or he took a knee, right? He was the first guy to take a knee, and this was all when Black Lives Matter was out, and so I couldn't touch it because if you go and you said anything about Colin Kaepernick, then Black Lives Matter would say, well, he's doing what he's, that's his like social statement, and I'm not saying he shouldn't be able to do that. He should. I mean, you can do whatever you want to in the United States, right? But he would not be doing that. He would not have even thought of doing that had it not been for Nessa Diab, because she was very involved with Black Lives Matter at that time. He was also like I don't think he was converted to Islam, but he was putting out like happy Kwanzaa or whatever whatever the holiday is for Muslims, right? And so he became very involved in that. He also decided that he wanted to be vegan. Lost all kinds of body weight because he decided to be vegan. Not because he have become vegan had he not, if he was just on his own. So, I think I'm going to be vegan today. That sounds like let's give it a shot. There wouldn't even been a thought entered into his mind had it not been for his girlfriend that he wanted. So there's a lot. People want to say, well, he is, he wasn't that good, so he's done. It's because of his politics, so he's done. It's because, and it's like, no. The catalyst to all of that underneath all of that is a beta guy who decided that his blue pill conditioning was more important to him than his own success.
There you go, man.
And his own desire than his own direction. So, he threw away what could have been a promising career. Put it this way, even if he wasn't that good, he still could have made a whole lot more money in the NFL than not in the NFL. And Nike comes and throws him a bone occasionally to use his image, but
freshly
not as
blown
much.
Out fro. Get out of here with that, man.
Yeah, exactly. I know. And would he even grown a fro had it not been because he had cornrows for the longest time.
Man, come on, dude.
Yeah, and so what is the catalyst for that? What is the only variable in that situation that he would see that kind of behavior? His girl. And so why is that? Because he was raised probably in his adoptive family is very blue pill, to be serviceable to women, to believe that relationships are a lot of work. And to never, like you're saying, never check your woman, right? That's because they want to play even Steven. We want to be, we have an egalitarian relationship. No, you don't. She is influencing you.
That's right.
And so you will make decisions. And I deal with guys all the time who are like in their 40s and 50s who are looking back on their lives and they realize that the reason they're in the fucked up place that they're in, or the reason that they could have been in a certain position, but they're not, because they gave up opportunities, was because of the chick, because they wanted to facilitate the relationship, because they said, man, I could have been a rock star. Man, I could have been the director of this company. I could have been, a greater artist, or I could have been, it's like my life that could have been, okay, why? Well, because I made these decisions. Why did you make those decisions? Well, I wanted to facilitate the relationship. Okay. Why did you want to do that? Because you had a blue pill mindset, because you made her your mental point of origin, not yourself, not putting yourself first. And that's where guys fall all over themselves first of all, that's one of the reasons I stress mental point of origin above all else when I'm talking to guys. But guys when I say that, they get so upset and because it feels wrong to them. It feels wrong to put themselves first. It feels wrong to put a woman off or check a woman. That feels wrong to them.
Yes. Well, that's conditioning.
Because it's that conditioning. And so they make decision after decision after decision. They don't know why they're doing it. And then they get awakened and they become red pill aware and they look back at this and they're like, holy shit. So is it any surprise when a guy gets angry? Once he becomes red pill aware, you look back on 30 years of the decisions that you made and the things you could have done, the opportunities you could have pursued had you been more red pill aware and you understood the game that you were involved in.
Right.
Of course you're going to get angry. Of course, and people always like complain about the red pill. It makes men so angry. Well, they're angry at themselves.
Yes.
They're angry because of a system that put them in, that kept them blind to all of this for so very long. It's not they're angry at women. They're angry at the decisions they made and not having saw it sooner.
I think that MGTOWs get a bad rap for being angry, and listen, let's call a spade. A lot of them are. Shout out to AD Melkov with the $10 super chat. Says big shout out to Donovan and Rollo. Great stream. Got a $4.99 super chat from Mo Flush. He says you guys should talk about the Melo and Lala situation. She was running the show. Yeah, Carmelo Anthony is actually a former NBA player. He's sort of being blackballed, but he's a Hall of Famer. Went to Syracuse, won a title back in 2003 with Syracuse, third overall pick or something like that. And yeah, he was married to, nobody even knows what Lala's last name was before she got married to Melo. I don't know, but we all know her as Lala Anthony. She pretty much ran the show when it came to Melo. And, of course, true to form, Carmelo Anthony and her, I think, ended up getting a divorce because he was cheating. So I don't really know much about the Lala and Melo situation, only that he could do a lot better than him. Lala Anthony has the body of Wendy Williams.
If you look at Nessa Diab and you look what she's been involved in, she was like on MTV. She had some sort of MTV thing. Yeah. I think it was called The Rules or something like that. It was
with a Z or something like that.
So she knew, she was that show was sort of like the goofy, like pre-millennial show for like relationships and men should know the rules kind of thing.
Oh god.
And so it's like it's not that she doesn't know. She also pulled this with like some basketball players too, right? She was involved with some either I think it was a basketball pro NBA guy before she met Kaepernick, and just basically drew Kaepernick in. But like, so here's the other side of this is people will say that, well, that's just a manipulative woman. That's
Right.
just her being that. So not all women are like that. Well, yeah, okay. I'll even grant you that on this occasion. But the thing is that the woman doesn't have to be like that. The guy is already preset to be that way. He's already thinking in terms of making her, deferring to her authority, because he wants to be supportive, because maybe he wants to be a male feminist, right? You got a guy like Anthony Bourdain, right? Who is otherwise very, very alpha on his shows, the decisions he makes. He ended up doing what he does, did very well. He followed his passions and everything out. And what was his downfall? What was the catalyst for his suicide? Some chick.
There you go.
Because he had that blue pill idealistic idea to be like, this is the be all end all. And everybody who knew Anthony Bourdain said the same thing about him. He tended to overinvest emotionally in the women he was with. So when his wife cheated on him, that really put him into depression. And when Asia Carrera.
Not Asia Carrera. Asia Argento.
Asia Carrera is a porn star. Asia Argento. When she probably thought, oh, we're in a poly relationship, I'm going to go out and have sex with this, younger dude, when she, but that's the thing is like, just because the woman is playing by one rule does not necessarily mean that the guy isn't playing by his own set of rules, or isn't subject to the conditioning that he has been. And that might take your life. That might kill you.
Right. That's exactly right. One last question here before we end the stream, because I just forgot that Devin and I are supposed to be meeting.
That's fine. So we've been doing this for an hour. That's good.
Yeah, we're supposed to go somewhere for sushi. Yeah, I forgot. I don't know. It's about sushi or something.
You need to come to Reno for sushi. That's what we have.
Dude, I heard there's a new sushi place out there, man.
We have over 50 all-you-can-eat sushi places in Reno. My best friend Ray told me about that. Yeah.
Dude, I used to eat it. I think I used to eat at EG2, which is, and I haven't been out there in a while. It's on McCarran and
Kitsky.
Oh my God, dude, it is the best. It is absolutely the best.
There are four EG restaurants now.
I'm gonna tell you, man, I lived in Vegas for 9 years. Listen, don't get me wrong, I miss Vegas, but I miss Reno a lot more than I thought I did, because I was out there last year. I was like, man, this place is actually not that bad.
I remember when I moved to Orlando, and I thought, oh well, it's by the coast, there must be some great sushi places out there, and all.
Negative.
No, I mean, if you go to the beaches, maybe you'll find something, but it's just not a thing. But for whatever reason, all you can eat sushi is like insane in Reno. And when I got back, I'm like, yeah,
Mac Raymond says Reno for sushi. No thanks, Mac. Listen, bruh.
You got it. You don't know.
Listen, I'm going to use feel, felt, found. I'm going to use a sales technique. Mac, I know how you feel. I felt the same way, but let me tell you what I found out. Reno is awesome for sushi. I had no freaking idea. It was crazy.
I know. People always say, well, are you going to do the keto diet? Or are you going to do the paleo? I will do any diet that will allow me to still have sushi on my cheat days or whatever, because you live in Reno Mac's right too, because I thought that too. When I got here, I'm like, because I was living in Tahoe, and then I would drive down to Reno, and then I would have sushi. I would make a special trip from Tahoe down to Reno just so I could do
just for the sushi,
because it was so rare back in the day. And now there's I know. I thought the same thing. Like, the further you go inland, the less you trust the sushi. So if you were in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I don't know that I'd want to go there.
Right. Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah, Reno's probably as far in as I would want to trust, but but it's
the exception to the rule. I could not believe it, dude. A friend of mine was like, "Yo, we got to go to the sushi place." I was like, "I don't know, sushi and dude, I follow all the rules, dude." I got there, I was like, "This is crazy. Like, how is this?"
I know, and it's packed. You can't even get a seat.
It's freaking crazy. So the last question I wanted to ask you is, do you think, because a lot of sports pundits are saying that Andrew Luck is probably going to come back. In fact, they're pretty sure of it. He's 30, dude. He hasn't even turned 30. He's 29 years old. He's in the physical prime of his life. He's easily one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL when he's upright. The offensive line is now one of the best in the NFL. Of course, this is the year he decided to step away. Does Andrew Luck, when he gets his body right and his kid is born and he's sitting around and he's thinking to himself, you know what? I kind of did this for my family. Family looks like they're all right. Obviously, we don't really need the money. I've tried all these other nerdy hobbies that I say that I like, but I don't really get out of these things what I get out of football. Maybe I need to lace him back up. Or Is he going to stay where he's at because? So in other words, what do you think is going to be the reason he stays retired? What do you think is going to be the reason that he comes out of retirement?
I think, well, first of all, boredom is going to be one, but what I think will happen is, gosh, I'm going to refer to that article that, that says that, like, was it every, like, 5 years is the time for a divorce for the guys in the NFL, once they retire. If you ever read Why Men Are the Way They Are, there's a section in there where it goes into detail about how while a guy is on top of his game, while he's alpha because of what he is, once that is removed, the women in his life who were the cheerleaders in his life no longer have anything to cheer. They don't have that. She's not going to be on the sidelines going, "Yeah, go Andrew." Right. That is going to change. Like, him retiring for football is going to change the nature of his relationship with the girl. So all this time, while he is like this football superstar in his 20s, and he didn't marry her right up until now, and I would venture to guess that he married her because she got knocked up. So there's that aspect too. So is he doing it because he thinks that that's the right thing to do? Maybe he has a religious, I'm pretty sure he does, has a religious, conviction when it comes to that kind of stuff. So he's got the girlfriend from college. He knocks her up. Maybe they're married first. Maybe they're not. But he wants to play house, right? And she wants to play house. And so for him to come out to stop doing what he loves, to stop doing what he had an ambition and a passion for, that's going to change the nature of the relationship, because up until this point, she's only ever known him as Andrew Luck, the star quarterback.
Right.
Now it's Andrew Luck daddy. Now it's Andrew Luck husband. Now it's
Andrew Luck. Yeah, man.
Probably gonna be like Andrew Luck, the philanthropist, right? Most likely he'll probably get into charity, because that's what NFL guys do, right? They get into, like, boys club or whatever it is that they sponsor. So there's going to be that, but that doesn't hold the same kind of gravitas that being a star quarterback is going to have. Now, here's the thing: is he the kind of guy that's going to get into, like, sports commentary? Is he going to be the guy that's going to be able to go and be like, go on with Howie and Andrew
Luck is kind of a weird guy. Andrew Luck is a geek. Like, he really is, so, dude. He's not a good looking guy. He's already balding. He's kind of he's a football player. And just like you said, Andrew Luck, the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, is a lot more attractive to Mrs. Luck than Andrew Luck, the family man, who's sitting around doing nothing, right? Like, I can't. So I don't know. Maybe his wife is the reason he retired from the NFL, dude. Maybe his wife is going to be the reason he gets back in.
Well, and so what will be very telling is if the guy gets divorced and she takes half of his stuff, will he get back? And that's gonna take a toll. I mean, imagine you're Andrew Luck and you get zeroed out like that, and you. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I hope it doesn't. I really hope it doesn't. I'm just hypothetically.
He's not going to lose all of his money, but I'm looking at it. Listen, dude, I
think he would come back.
Like,
yeah.
No, she's not really. Don't get me wrong, man. I don't know, man. She's decent looking, but she ain't the kind of. She ain't Giselle. No, she ain't Giselle. Like, she doesn't look like the kind of. She doesn't look like the kind of wife that an NFL guy would actually marry. So again, we know just by looking at his wife, Andrew Luck is not an alpha male. He's not an alpha male because he plays football. He's not an alpha male because he's made a lot of money. Tom Brady was an alpha male before he ever got to New England, right? Look what he's done with his career. Look at the woman he married. Oh, by the way, Tom Brady also has a baby mama. Her name is Bridget Moynihan.
Really?
Star. Yeah,
I baby mama. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
he put a baby in Bridget Moynihan before he got with Giselle Bundchen. So yeah, Tom Brady's got a baby mama who's also a fucking movie star. Yep. So yeah, that's how you do it.
Yeah. I think that, would he come back out of retirement? I think so, but it will probably be, and I saw that last comment, by the way. Yeah. Okay. Become a better man on Sunday. Good for you. That's exactly what I said people were going to say at the very beginning of this show. Exactly.
I waste my time.
Hey, what are they talking about? Football for, man. You should be in the gym making money with your drop shipping.
With your fucking balls. Guess what? I watch MMA too. Oh my God! Come on, guys. Like seriously, we're men here. Let's not. We're all
sports are a proxy for war. Okay,
yeah,
games are a proxy for war. Okay, yeah. So you know what? If you enjoy football, go and enjoy it. It's okay, really.
Red Bull guy.
Hey, watch how many beers you're having. Okay, don't don't eat too many freaking nachos. Okay, but it's okay to enjoy it, man.
We kid because we care. We kid because we care. Well, Rollo, listen, man, thanks again for making time for us, dude. We got all the way up to, I think, 550 some odd viewers. Thank you to everyone who donated super chats. Mo Flush. There was also Eddie Melkov, Martin Van Ball. Hopefully things work out with your soon-to-be ex-wife, or your ex-wife, as in do not text her. Anytime you want me on your show, dude, just let me know. I'm happy to have you on anytime, and I will see you next time, my friend.
All right, man.
That's going to do it for this edition of TSR Live. I have an unbelievable show coming up. I will see you guys tomorrow at noon. Peace. All right, that was good.